Hi, this is Bobby Brown, and welcome to another fucking podcast.
You kids with your loud music and your Dan Fogelberg, your Zima, hula hoops, and Pac-Man video games, don't you see? People today have attention spans that can only be measured in nanoseconds.
See, son, old legends never die. They just lose weight.
Like a legend and an out-of-work bum with a lot of life.
Hello, you crazy dick fucker!
Party time!
Yes, it is party time. Hello, Hollywood. Hello, world. Hello, Wounded Trim. My name is Izzy Presley, and this is Metal Edge Magazine's Another Effin' Podcast with myself, Izzy Presley, and my cohort from Metal Edge Magazine himself, the one and only Paul Gargano. Good day.
Hello. And I forgot my sunglasses.
You forgot your sunglasses. I didn't have time.
You know what?
You don't need them. You've always had a set of.
You
You don't need them, bro.
Rika's sunglasses.
Oh, there you go. There you
They
go.
wouldn't
Yeah,
have been
you're
mine.
fine. You don't need them.
I think we've got the sunglasses covered because with us this evening is the Flava Flav of sunglasses. We hail him. His name is Chips Enuff. Good day.
Good to be with you, gentlemen.
Chip.
It
Two
is
guys who have been in the music business. You guys are collectively are older than Moose Pussy. Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah, hold on. No, only the pussy that you see on tour.
Oh, I see. Listen, trust me, bro. You ever see? My wife is a goddess. Okay,
Yes.
I know how to get trim. Never had that problem before. I can write
Of
songs.
course
I can
not.
meet women.
There you go.
Oh,
Oh, make sure you guys hit up all the socials at Real Lizzie Presley all the way across the board, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and of course, Metal Edge Magazine at Metal Edge Magazine on the Instagram, at Metal Edge Mag on the Twitter, and it's Metal Edge Magazine on the Facebook. And of course, you can find the show page for now at Another Effing Podcast on Facebook as well. Find Paul Gargano on all that shiznit. And of course, you can find the great Chips Enuff at Chips Enuff pretty much fucking everywhere. So
I'd
there's
say
that.
so. Yep. Enoughsenough.com will suffice. You get all the dates right
get it
there,
all
everything
there.
that we're doing. That's make it real Sesame Street. However, Instagram and Twitter, all that stuff, and also on Monsters of Rock Radio.
That is right. You are
That
on
is
my
right.
old way, still on my old airwaves at Monsters of Rock. How's that going over there? How's Harlan? How's the crew?
Fantastic. Things are going great. We had Sammy on last week, John 5, Faster Pussycat, the guys in King's X,
Nice.
Steel Panther, Dead Daisies. The list goes on and on. Listen, it's a wonderful platform with over 70,000 songs that we pick from. It's A through Z, the whole alphabet of hard rock and heavy metal. And it's 24/7, 365 days a year, commercial free. Serious? And you know what? Great program. Those guys, you got Howard Stern, you got Eddie Trunk, all those great cats that are over there. And I love them, Michael DeBars. But I think they're limited with songs. You just don't get, unless you go to the Beatles channel, you're
Yeah.
going to get the same kind of tunes all the time, which is great songs. They're all timeless.
Mhm.
I'm going through everything you can think of, and it's Greta Van Fleet, Rival Sons, Dirty Honey, The Struts, and then it's back over to Metallica, Judas Priest, Queen, Cheap Trick. It's a potpourri of the greatest bands out there, and I love to be a part of it.
Have you
That's
have you had either of my tunes come up in your rotation? Because I would love to hear the Chips Enuff intro for one of my songs. Because I've got Speeding Back to My Baby and Tender Years that Harlan has in the rotation.
Yeah, I'm sure the song. Listen, there's a ton of songs that are on there. So much fodder. It's really a wonderful celebration of life on that program, and I'm sure there's some Izzy stuff that's on there that would be like a B or C side something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's Izzy stuff. It's more like a D side.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, we might as well sling mud while we all live in glass houses.
That's right.
We're
Chip,
fine right there, gentlemen.
I do want to talk. Obviously, you're on here to talk about this this Beatles.
I'm here to
record
just
that
talk
you
about
did.
you guys to talk. Period. There's no if there's a script here, I'm getting off right now.
Oh no,
okay?
there's no script. We
Yes.
just want to talk about the record, which
Yeah.
is out now. And you, Chip, it's like anybody. I mean, the Beatles have been done 10 billion times. when you decide, I know you guys were out touring doing the Beatles songs. When you're deciding to do Beatles songs, how do you do it without going, okay, so well, Guns N' Roses did that. Now nobody needs to hear another version of that because they already killed it, but you did a killer version of it yourself. How do you pick the songs? How do you make them?
We were just making a record for ourselves, to be honest with you. It was during the whole shutdown. We were on tour with Winger over in Australia in March of 2020. After our 7th show on that tour, we were told that we had to go back to the United States. They were shutting everything down. So we came back home. Instead of stopping, the first thing we did was we booked a live streaming show on Larry Moran's Monsters of Rock cruise.
Yep.
And then from there, we went right in the studio and started recording. And we picked, maybe it was unwittingly, but we, for some reason, picked stuff from 1967 up to 70 with the Beatles. We left early stuff behind. So we went over and grabbed stuff from John's Shaved Fish record. We did Cold Turkey, which was an old standard and Enough set years ago. And then we said, maybe we'll go over and do Magical Mystery Tour. And hey, perhaps let's visit some stuff on the White Album, which I thought was brilliant when the Beatles were really experimenting with stuff, drugs, along with the musical landscape.
Mhm.
You know, George was listening to a lot of Ravi Shankar sitar stuff.
Yep.
Paul was listening to a lot of the pop stuff
Mhm.
that was happening out there. John, he loved early stuff from like Procol Harum, Whiter Shade of Pale. In fact, if you listen to Mind Games and Whiter Shade of Pale, they're identical except for the turnaround on the bridge. It's the same chords, okay? I mean, we're all influenced by something out there. Even Ringo coming up with great stuff at that time. So I think unwittingly, like I said before, we just picked Beatles stuff out from the end of their career and we put them all together, started recording like maybe 15, 16 songs. And then Frontiers came to us and says, we want to sign Enough Snuff for the next 3 records. We've already put out 3 with them already.
Mm-hmm.
And we said, yeah, well, that'd be great. We put out Clown's Lounge, Diamond Boy, and Brainwashed Generation with, we had Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater playing on it, my cousin, along with Dax Nielsen from Cheap Trick. And that was a really good record, but we were going through this whole shutdown. It was tough to go out and tour and support those records.
Yeah, right.
And then here we are, we're back in Chicago. We got to come up with some material. And we started recording those Beatles songs with my band, Tony Fennell, Tori Stoff Reagan, and Daniel Benjamin Hill. And after a few tracks, we sent them out to the label when they inquired about another record. And they said it was fabulous. They wanted to put it out there. We were surprised because Frontiers being a hard rock, heavy metal label, we didn't think they'd want to put out a record of cover songs. And I don't think anybody's done this. I know other bands like Stone Temple Pilots and Cheap Trick and Smithereens and Styx. There's a lot of groups that have recorded 1 or 2 Beatles songs, and maybe some that put out live records of Beatles. But I don't think anybody's done a proper studio record of Beatles songs through Marshall amplifiers and Mesa Boogie amps and of course Ampeg amplification along with drums, and just bashed it out as a hard rock record. So we sent it to the label. They hailed it beyond belief, and then we just put the finishing touches on it. We went over to Stonecutter Studio downtown Chicago with this engineer named Chris Steinmetz, who was responsible for Kiss Revenge, one of their best records. He also did a bunch of stuff with Alice Cooper and worked with Styx and a lot of earlier bands like White Snake and Cheap Trick. He's worked with a lot of different bands where he's just engineered it and maybe mixed records. And we just gave him that record and said, what do you think he can do with this? And he pulled out all his old analog equipment.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it was wonderful just to listen to the sounds we were getting with the old amplification and great microphones. We didn't do any overdubs there. We just mixed the record there, 1 song at a time. Brought out the old Leslie amplifiers, ran them into a bathroom, smoked a Brinks truck full of pot, and this is what you get right here. Enough's Enough, Hardrock Nite, a really strong rock record, which is we're not a tribute band, guys. We got 20-something records out. We're a band that we're showing our influences on our sleeve. It's Beatles songs, which is one of our biggest influences. Paul McCartney had been in my job, and we just took those songs and turned them into a reinterpretation of what we would do if they were our songs. That's it. I mean, no pressure on me because the songs are already written. They're fabulous.
Yeah,
songs.
They're
timeless
right?
as far as I'm concerned.
Totally.
And what a perfect time to put it out. You put out Enough Snuff, Hardrock Nite, along with the Beatles' Get Back documentary that's out there right now. Perfect timing. Record sold out in the first week. I didn't see us in the Billboard Top 200, but then again, the questionable behavior over there. Okay, you don't know what you can believe. I know one thing: everybody bought the record.
I'll tell
the
you
label
what.
loves it. The fans love it.
As long as Adele exists, nobody's going to see the top 200 as long as she's around.
Yeah, she's very talented. Boy, she's easy on the eyes now. She looks great.
Yeah, she looks great. I'm just glad she's her record's out because now maybe they have time to print some other bands' records.
Yeah, Adele. I got a buddy of mine who's got a company called AnyKindOfTickets.com, and he has tickets to every single show there is out there, whether it's McCartney, the Rolling Stones, Lady Gaga. And he tells me tickets right now for Adele are going for $2,000 to $35,000 a ticket in Las Vegas. It's unbelievable.
And people pay it?
Well, you want to see your favorite band. A lot of those people that fell in love with Adele, maybe Adele her music was really special when it first came out. She was an indie artist. She had beautiful pipes. She was against the 8 ball. Nobody knew what she was all about. As soon as she opened her pipes, it was like E.F. Hunt, and people were listening. They embraced it beyond belief. And then she went out and got a bunch of musicians, really good players, to come out there and write and record those songs. She was smart. She surrounded herself with great talent. Look what happened.
Yeah. No, and to be fair, that sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money, but it's kind of that audience has money, and it doesn't really cost more than going on a cruise like Monsters of Rock or Shiprocked or doing a Kiss VIP package. I mean, it's those fans, that's where they want to spend their money. It's crazy, though.
It's not like you can go backstage at a Kiss show. You can watch Paul Stanley play one of his electric guitars, one for one song. At the end of the night, you can buy the guitar for $18,000. The strap's $3,000. For $21,000, you can have there. You can buy a Gene Simmons bass.
Yep.
I think there's a little bit more stuff that's happening there. Adele show, it's $2,000 to $35,000 a ticket.
Yeah.
And it's you out in the crowd hanging out. You can't smoke dope out there.
Right.
It's tons of rules and regulations. You're handcuffed at those shows. It's shut up and listen to me, and that's it. There's no backstage hanging out and getting a chance to take a picture with her or anything because they just aren't doing that right now. Maybe that'll open up again one of these days. I just got off a tour with Faster Pussycat. We were out for like 2.5 months from June, July into August.
Yep.
And every single show, and granted, we weren't playing 5,000 seaters, but we were doing nice rooms, 600 to 1,000 seat venues, completely jam-packed, tons of trim at every single show. Everybody's celebrating hard rock and heavy metal. And at the end of the night, you come back, you meet the fans, you shake hands, you take pictures, and you leave an indelible mark. It's really special. The big bands aren't doing that right now, and they're probably not going to do that for a while, gentlemen, until they pull away these mandates and restrictions.
Yeah, it was. I saw a couple. I was at a couple of the Faster shows. I don't think you were on any of the shows I was at. Ironically,
you were there for the early on the tour, right?
Post.
Yeah, you got in
4th of July. I was on the later end of the tour, East Coast.
Okay, because we went all the way until July 31st. August 1st was our last show with Faster Pussycat.
I think I was at.
Went on.
Yeah, I was at what is it? Clinton, New Jersey. You weren't on that show.
Yeah.
That was Don.
No, I wasn't on that gig.
Yeah. But it was like you said, it was you couldn't have fit 12 more people in the venue in Clinton. It seemed like it was really good crowds.
Every single night it was, and Faster Pussycat's got their NOLA record out right now, so they had something new to work on. Yeah. We just finished our Brainwash Generation. We were getting ready to put out this Beatle record, Hardrock Nite, so we were playing songs from that in the set as well. And both bands got along fabulously. I've always loved Tammy and Danny and the boys. I think it was great too. We shared back line together. We showed up every single night, and there was a few hiccups on the tour, but for the most part, it was really great. The fans really spoke, and they want to hear hard rock and heavy metal. There's a lot of people out there, a lot of Metal Edge fans out there, folks.
Oh,
they really love those bands. They haven't went away. In fact, they're jonesing and chomping at the bit to see concerts from those bands that were featured in Metal Edge 25, 30 years ago.
No,
some of us are still young, and some of us are still drinking out of the fountain of youth, while other ones look old.
Yeah, right. Just really quick, jump into the chat room. Dick Chasen is hanging out there. He's a loyal listener, and he's drunk apparently. And he says, "How much for Paul Stanley's briefs?"
That's why he's a loyal listener.
Yes, exactly. He says, "How much for Paul Stanley's briefs? Asking for myself."
I don't think he's selling those. I think, although he would probably sell them if the price was right.
Yeah,
I
right.
did the rock and roll fantasy camp with him. What a charming guy. I mean, a wonderful storyteller. And then we got on stage and we played the whiskey together. We did Strutter and Deuce
nice.
in front of the crowd. It was jam packed. And it just so happens the band I was playing with, Lenny Kravitz's old drummer, was playing with us, and the singer who sounded just like Robin Zander. Great pipes.
Wow.
And Paul really appreciated that, to get up on stage in that rock and roll fantasy camp with people that are, they're just living their life vicariously through musicians.
Yeah.
You pay $5-6 and you get in a band with your favorite rock star. You learn 2 songs and then you play live in front of an audience. And Paul, that night, he said to me, he goes, Chip, how would you like to open for Kiss at the Kiss cruise? I said, I'd love to do that. That'd be a lot of fun. And he goes, well, I asked you last year. We went to your management company and your booking agent, Artists Worldwide, and they said you couldn't do it. I said, perhaps we had something going on at that time ago, but Paul, I'd love to do that. And when Paul Stanley asks for a favor, you don't turn him down. Right, and he got on the phone with Doc McGee right in front of me backstage at the whiskey and said, hey, I got Chip here, put Enough on the bill to play 4 shows with us. And he hung up the phone. He goes, okay, you're on, bro. That was it. And I looked at myself. And then we got on there. We played 4 shows. And to look out in the crowd and see Paul and Gene Simmons and the rest of the gang out there with Doc McGee watching you perform when you're on stage playing Your Baby Loves You or Fly Michelle or Get High on a New Thing. With Evan Stanley, by the way, came up and played with us as well. Evan knows all those Enough songs. Great singer, wonderful musician. And to watch those guys, quite intimidating. But at the end of the show, they said, quote unquote, Chip, you should have been doing this 10 years ago. That's it. And that gave us a lot of confidence, because right after that, we went right on tour with Ace Frehley for 26 shows through Live Nations. And that was a great tour for us. So the Kiss connection was good. The only thing that was bad about was afterwards, the following year, we were going to do the Monster Rock cruise. And Larry Moran says, if you take the Kiss cruise, you're suspended for a year from the Monster Rock cruise. So we missed that. We missed a good time having some trim and finding some good pot over in Coco Cay. But that's okay. I think we're back in the good graces of Moran right now. Maybe we'll be on one of those Monster Rock cruises, or perhaps the Monster of the Mountain next year.
Nice. And actually, speaking of that Ace Frehley tour, my buddy Adrian Dater, he's in Colorado. He's a beat writer for the Colorado Avalanche, says, I saw him and them open for Ace Frehley in the LA area in 2016 or so. He rightly mocked me for holding a phone up during the performance right in the middle of the song. I loved it.
I'm confused. Who mocked him?
Chip.
Well, that's good.
Chip. Yeah,
I recognize a star from 30 feet away. That's okay having the phone out there. That's the wave of the future right now. People want to watch. People are listening with their eyes instead of their ears. That's okay. You paid the ticket to get in. I'm the last guy that's going to bamboozle you and riddle you over your personal preference when you go to a rock concert. Yeah. I'm just glad you're there and you're in the audience. And he got riddled, rightly so. That's good.
Yeah. And he loved it.
With that.
He loved it.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. I'm confused. I'm actually paying attention and I'm confused. Actually, I have you said he said you ridiculed him he was in the crowd with the phone and you ridiculed him. Yes?
Perhaps. I don't know what I said. Listen,
and then you just said you wouldn't ridicule him because he could do whatever he wants.
He can do whatever he wants, but listen, it's okay. That's what I'm saying. I don't hold the grudge. I'm happy he showed up at the gig.
Gotcha.
It was a friendly riddle at the most, okay?
Yes, that's all right. Now we got you. Well, I'll be honest. I am guilty of taking video and pictures at shows, but it does drive me absolutely crazy when there's people who literally just sit there with their phones up for the entire show. Drives me absolutely crazy. Like, take your picture, take some video of your favorite song, but if you're just going to stand there and hold your phone up over your head the entire time and block everybody behind you's view, you'll go home and watch it on YouTube.
Yep.
Well, I was going to say, if it's a big show, Paul, and you're going to Lollapalooza or one of these Coachella festivals, that's all they do. Everybody's got the telephone and they want to get content. And maybe people will jump on their channel and take a look at some of the video. The bad thing about that is if it sounds like if performance is questionable or it's not a good feed, That's not good for anybody, right
Oh,
there.
and like I said, I could start pulling up. I'm always taking pictures and video at shows constantly. But be aware of your surroundings. I'm self-conscious enough because I'm 6'4" and I block everybody behind me. Like if I were to hold my phone up too, forget about it. It's just like, I'm just like, people just need to be aware, because it's just, you're holding your phone up and the person behind you, all they're looking at is the back of your phone.
Yeah.
And like take your, you love Fly High Michelle. Take some video of Fly High Michelle. Do you need to video the entire show or live stream it via Facebook? Like that's the stuff that drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Like for the 5 people.
There's something
like,
to be said. Paul, there's something to be said for Grateful Dead concerts, though. When you go up there, you get set the gear and you get a great production, wonderful sound, get good video right there. And the concerts, they're for people. And they were doing that back when tickets were $7, $8, $10 a ticket. Nowadays, at $300 a ticket, you should be able to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
that's my thoughts.
Fair enough. Now look, I don't disagree. I'm not arguing with you. It's just frustrating. Especially, I go to a lot of shows at the Whiskey, and basically 3 people holding their phone up block half the crowd at the Whiskey. I mean, that's just. And I know every city in America has got a club not as historic as the Whiskey, but comparable to the Whiskey in size. And it's just that, to me, it becomes noticeable after a while. But I agree with you completely. Hey, do what you want to do. I just say be aware of your surroundings and be considerate of the people around you.
I must agree with you on that, my friend.
We were watching Tesla at a Halfway Jam up in Royalton, Minnesota. Yeah. And there was a gal with one of the big ass iPads, and she literally had it up the whole show. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
I was just looking at some of the pictures of my house. I got a signed Mick Jagger poster that he gave me. I thought it was pretty cool. How many people have a Jagger poster signed by him? Not many. I'm bragging.
I have a Jaeger poster on my wall. My wife and I first date was the Jägermeister tour. So for one of our anniversaries, I got the ad mat from the tour and framed it. So I do have a Jaeger poster, but not a Jagger poster.
That's pretty cool. I got a poster of Izzy naked too somewhere in the studio. I can't get up and show you that right now, but
I wouldn't be able to get up either if I saw that picture.
Very impressed with him and his little baby arm.
Sometimes you just gotta show off what God gave you. You know what I'm saying? Chip, you know everybody. You've been on a stage with almost fucking everybody. What's the biggest name that you think you've been on stage with?
It's a tough one right there. We've toured or played and shared the stage with many of the bands out there. I know who I haven't played with the Stones, but I met Keith Richards. Haven't played with the Beatles, but I met Ringo.
Yeah.
On stage, to share the stage with somebody that's significant. Maybe in the early days when we were out with Def Leppard, or on those tours in the early 2000s with Poison. Those are pretty good when you're playing sheds and arenas. There's nothing wrong with that. One really good, Alice Cooper. We were out with Alice Cooper in '93. We played this big festival in Florida. It's called the She Festival. We were the only band that had a hit song at the time. It was Billy Squier, The Fix, Alice Cooper, Foreigner, and Enough's Enough. And our guitar player didn't show up in time. He met some trim in Orlando the night before and came to the gig late. So I had to go to everyone's dressing room, everyone's trailer, and ask the guys if it's okay if we go on after them because our guitar player wasn't there. And everybody was really nice to me. Alice, just charming beyond belief. And Shemp, I love him, big pot smoker. Alice's guy, been his manager forever. Yeah. And then went over to Foreigner's dressing room, and Mick said to me, he goes, yeah, you guys can go on after us. And I go, well, we're only going to get 20 minutes. He says, Chip, the Beatles did it in 20 minutes, so can you. And we played that show, and they were pulling people out of the pit. It was over 100,000 people there, guys.
Wow.
And it was a 4-song set. We opened with Revolution, and then we did Fly High Michelle, Baby Loves You, and New Thing. That was it, 4 tunes. And at the end of the gig, I remember taking me and Mick went back to the hotel room with some beautiful talent. But instead of hanging out with the trim, we just talked shop the whole night about all the bands that are making mistakes, the ones that are making the right moves.
Yeah.
And he told me he wrote all those Foreigner records. He learned how to write those songs because he spent 6 months in the studio with the Beatles while they were recording with George Martin, and that's how he learned his craft. And
Wow.
I thought it was fascinating. I asked him, I go, were the guys partying, drinking, doing drugs in the studio? He goes, not at all. He goes, we smoked a little pot in the closet area because nobody wanted to be around George Martin and bother him and be disrespectful. But it was 1, 2, 3, 4 and the band playing live in the studio. That was fascinating. So some of the big shows, you get some extra little curricular activities that happen there. That makes it a little more exciting. But I've toured with almost all the bands that are out there right now, at least played a show or two with them all. And I'm just grateful I'm still be able to, there's some gas in the tank. I can still do it. By the way, in January, there's a huge festival in Florida. 21 bands are playing. I know Dawkins on there and Brent Michaels, Loverboy, and Cheap Trick is on there along with Faster Pussycat and Winger and a bunch of bands. And it's called the Rock Island Fest. It's January 12th through the 18th. And there'll be a lot of bands that I've never shared the stage with before. I think they'll be really exciting to see all those people out there. Getting warm weather, got to Chicago for a week and hang out with all the big boys. It should be fun. Doc is on there with George Lynch. He's playing on the bill as well. Jackal's on there. If you check out rockisland.com, rockislandfest.com, you'll see all the dates. That's the way I'm starting off 2022 with a huge festival with 22 bands. Jack Russell's Great White on there as well. Can't wait to get out there and play
It's
that
a,
show.
it's a 4-night. It's a 4-night festival, right?
Yeah.
It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, it's a la like the what is it called? The thing you have in Rocklahoma Fest, real similar to that.
Yeah, it's the same promoter. It's the guy that started Rocklahoma.
Yeah, but nothing but rock bands and metal bands, and it's ROKislandfest.com. And you see all the bands on there, and I'm telling you right now, very impressive, you guys. Can't wait to play that. I
think if I'm not mistaken, just to jump on your hype train, I think it's an all-inclusive resort in Key West, which means the libations will be flowing.
Oh, absolutely. There'll be so much cat daiquiri there, and you'll drown in it.
Yeah.
But more importantly, just imagine all the bands. It's 5 bands or 6 bands every single night playing the show. Then they're gonna have a big jam at the end of the whole week too as well. This could be something, a template for the future for rock fans to go see, where it's inclusive the hotel rooms and the ticket. You get the whole package together, and it's 4 or 5 days of debauchery. It's fantastic.
I think the theory on it is it's like the cruise, but you don't have to get on a ship, which I think is going to be which is going to be appealing to a lot of people given what's going on with COVID and everything right now. You know, the regulations aren't as tight. You could, you know, it's a little looser, more lax. So, but it's the same lifestyle, same party for 5 days.
Yeah, and I don't think we're gonna have a problem with some of the ships. I think that Monster Rock cruise will go off without a hitch. Alice Cooper wouldn't have signed on the headline. It wasn't going to be something that was
it's good. They're all going to go
moving forward.
Like Jericho's cruise already went out. Chris Jericho's cruise went out. I believe in October. Without a hitch. He was the first theme cruise to go out after COVID. Kiss went out right after him. They had no problems. It's just, you know, it's just the vaccination. The ships are requiring vaccination, which is a sticking the only issue. Yeah. But once you get on the ship, you don't have to wear masks.
I think that'll change. And listen, I'm not against anybody that's vaccinated or unvaccinated. It's fine. Whatever you want to do. Whatever you're comfortable with, I'm fine. I'm not slinging mud whatsoever. I believe it's a free country. There's a Second Amendment. If you want to get the shot, that's great. Nothing wrong with that. I got mine. Some people, though, are immune compromised. Others have religious beliefs. If that's what they want to do, we should be respectful to everybody out there. In the old days, in our forefathers' days, we would be able to talk about it and have conversations.
Yes.
And to now to be stifled from freedom of speech is a shortcut to thinking.
No, absolutely. And Chip, look, I'm really bummed that you're not on Monsters of Rock Cruise this year, because my jam is a Cheap Trick jam this year. And
it would have been great. And Larry knows I run the Monsters of Rock radio on the Dash Radio Network, which is satellite. We have 30 million subscribers. Okay. We have more people listening to some of the programs that are over at Sirius XM. Real proud of what we've done over there with Rudy Sarzo and Harlan and the whole team and cast of characters at that network. I would think that Larry wanted on there, but he already knows that he's going to get tons of love and press from me, whether I'm on the show or not.
Of course.
I love being
Of
on the boat.
course.
I got married on the boat, you guys.
I know. I
It's
did
one of my
stand
favorite
up.
places.
Oh.
I love
I
hanging out there with, the guys in Extreme and all
Yeah.
the big shows that we play with all the wonderful bands that have attended those festivals. It's when Larry's ready to have us, we'll be available for him.
Chip, I know, because I actually opened up for your wedding. I did stand up. Jameson made me open up for him, opening up for you for your wedding. And it was
Pretty
great.
historical.
Yeah, absolutely.
Izzy, I've yet to see you do stand up.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
Is that a threat? Or...
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Is that a
absolutely is.
Hey, I've seen your band twice already.
You have.
Yeah, so I'm not afraid of a little stand up. I'm not afraid of it. We got this.
But
But
Paul,
Chip, do you have what?
I was gonna say, it's like I'm lost. I have no Smoke and Kills shows to promote. So like I don't know where am I supposed to get my plugs in?
What do I do? What do I do? Chip's taking,
Hey, Izzy, are you
taking
going to
care of
sing the
pl-
Cheap Trick set?
I'm gonna sing a couple songs.
Yeah, because that's a tough job, Robin Zander.
Yep.
That guy's got some great pipes,
Yep.
Wonderful
absolutely.
singer.
Yeah.
I would
fucking-
divulge, I would go into the early Cheap Trick stuff and Daddy Should Have Stayed in High School, Hot Love, Hello Kitties. That would
Yeah.
be a great set. I would love to play
Yeah.
bass in that set for sure.
Dude, you obviously would be more than welcome if you were around. So, Paul, you were gonna ask. You had something.
I was saying Chip's doing a really good job with the plugs on his own, so I don't think you even need to plug today.
Well, I believe Chip went to the school of the Gene Simmons School of Marketing. Well, if you can talk about selling something, you should talk about selling something.
Yeah, wonderful opportunities. It's a great platform. Being with you and Metal
Literally,
Sludge, you can't go, and Metal Edge,
Minutes,
you can't go
okay.
wrong. Metal Edge, listen, Metal Edge was my book back in the old days. If it wasn't for Metal Edge, I wouldn't be talking to you guys right now. Big purveyor of hard rock and heavy metal, along with Howard Stern. Those are the two big places I would go to in New York when I came through on tour. And Jerry Miller, God rest her soul, she loved the bands. If she was on your side, she broke her ass and did everything she could. She would travel with us on tour. She'd get on the Oscar Mayer Wiener wagon and she goes, "Oh God, it's so smoky. It smells like pot in here." But as long as you had a Coke for her, you're okay. And maybe give her a little.
Just to be clear, as long as you had
and a little
Coke
Sinclair,
for her,
yeah,
not Coke
yeah. She
for
loved
her.
the little
A
chocolates
Coke.
and stuff too. Yeah, she was always wonderful. All the bands. I think every one of us is indebted to her what we through our career to Jerry Miller, what she's done for us over at Metal Edge.
Yeah.
So Chip, Alex Cain was back in the band, and a lot of people still might not know this, but when I say back in the band, Alex Cain was one of the original guitar players of the band, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And now he's on hiatus. Is he coming back to the band again, or?
I will say that Alex is real content right now. He's producing records. He just made a Brinks truck full of chippy poos. If I pushed him up his wallet, he'd break his neck a couple of times right now. I'm not so sure he wants to go out and tour right now because he's got a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
With his family and with making albums for other bands. However, he came up with some great ideas. He told me, he goes, "Chip," he goes, "maybe you could just go out and do Weekend Warriors. It's much more profitable that way. You won't lose your ass. You don't have to worry about getting a tour bus. You fly in, play a couple dates, fly back home, go back in the studio, work through your radio show." He had a point right there.
Yeah.
However, I'd love to be able to go out again and do another tour. Whether Alex comes back, I just don't see him right now coming back into the band at this moment. We got Tony Fennell from Ultravox, who took Mid-Year's place years ago, playing guitar with us and singing. He's great. Torrey Stoff, Reagan solid as a rock. He's like a George Harrison through a Mesa Boogie amplifier. And Daniel Benjamin Hill, can't say enough good things about that guy. Six-trick pony, writes, sings, plays guitar, producer, great engineer. I think that the team is pretty rock solid right now, and I'm happy with where we sit as a gang. But Alex will always be a part of the team for sure, and I love him dearly. Alex helped put enough stuff together with me back in 1985, and he was instrumental. And we did a lot of recordings over at Chicago Recording Company. We went over to it was in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, Royal Records, and did a lot of early stuff over there as well. He had wonderful ideas. When Alex left Enough's Enough back in 86, 87, he immediately went to Los Angeles and put together Life, Sex, and Death.
Right.
The guy he knows what he's doing right there.
Yeah.
Which is a very formidable band. By the way, I produced a lot of that early Life, Sex, and Death stuff before they got their record deal.
Oh, wow.
So we were all swimming in the same swamp together. And Alex and I have been very good friends ever since then.
Mhm.
And he was a wonderful guy, really smart. I loved it when he was playing with the Wild Hearts too. Guy's real diversified musician.
Yeah.
And he's been sending me some songs. So perhaps I might do one of the songs that he's written for a future record, because he's got some wonderful tunes.
Chip, you mentioned you mentioned Chicago. I'm in the middle of Richard Beanstalk's book, Nothing But a Good Time, right now. And my apologies if you're in it later, but at the point I'm at, Enough's Enough hasn't been mentioned yet. It very much chronicles the Sunset Strip. What was it like emerging in Chicago as opposed to being out here, coming from Chicago as opposed to being one of the LA bands?
Well, it was a totally different scene out there. In LA, people shared the stage with each other, and they would help get through all the gigs by lending the gear, booking shows together. It was a real good camaraderie. Chicago didn't have the same camaraderie, but had wonderful talent out there.
Yeah.
You had Off Broadway and the Cain. They were another fantastic band. Pesby were great. I think I'm losing you guys on sound. Sorry. I'll have to get back to you. I apologize, guys.
No, you're fine.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, what just happened?
And at this point in the YouTube video, there will be intermission music with the promo. with the promo for next week's in 2 weeks, the Listener Drunken Summit, which is moved to the 27th. We have all the listeners lined up. We have a very special guest lined up who we are not going to tell you who it is, because that is going to be a surprise during the show. And the battle will be Aerosmith Rocks versus Aerosmith Toys in the Attic, track versus track, lip versus lip. And now we've completely, Chip was laughing and now he's gone. Oh, this is why I
feel like you have your Sebastian Bach imitation, and I have my ladies and gentlemen, the joys of live podcasting.
Speaking of pre-recorded, we will be pre-recorded next week. Paul, you want to tell us who we have next week?
Yes, next week we are going to have Eric Baker from M3. He is the promoter and one of the owners of the M3 Festival. So the M3 announcement came out today for the 2022 M3 Festival. And Eric's going to come on next week, go over the bands with us, go over the process, talk about the festival, the history of the festival. This is the 13th year, I believe. So it should be a good episode. I like digging into the behind the scenes stuff a little bit too. You know, I'm hoping we can get Larry Moran on one of these episodes coming up, talk about the Monsters of Rock cruise.
I would love to have Larry on.
And just
I love stories.
Yeah, I love that. I love the behind the scenes stuff as much as I love talking to the artists. So, but we will see. But yeah, Eric, I'm looking forward to Eric. That will be next week's episode. And then the episode after that, we have the Drunken Summit with the listeners.
Yep.
That is going to be good. We have a great special guest for that. And then that brings us into the new year. And we've got a bunch of stuff lined up for the new year already, but let's wait and see how things shake out. We got a couple tour announcements we're going to have, stuff like that, but we'll work that stuff out. And at some point in 2022, early January, we're going to be launching the content side of Metal Edge.
Oh, very nice.
So there will be, we've already got a number of new interviews done, articles up. I've got I have the site open on my computer, but it's not open to the public yet. So we're doing just a hell of a job with content. So it's good. I'm excited.
Is there any timeline to when the changes for the podcast might be happening?
It's
nothing yet.
I don't think it's not imminent at this point.
Okay.
No, it's so I think until we take all of the podcasts under the Project M umbrella, Revolver, Goldmine, Hard Times, Brooklyn Vegan, Inked, until all these podcasts got shoved together into one network, we're going to be on our own. So we should be okay.
All right. Well,
we'll be okay after that, but it's just that's for the time being, I think we're all running on our own.
Yep. All right. Well, Paul, let's do this. Just text Chip back and tell him we're wrapping it up. Oh. Well,
it's like Candyman. If you say his name 3 times, he appears.
Yes. Oh, hi, Kate.
Hello.
It's connecting. It's connecting. Did not connect to audio. She's connecting. There she's connected to audio. Hi, Kate. Say hello to the podcast world.
Oh, hey. I apologize for my couch potato look.
No, I see fans of another.
I'm not doing much better, so it's all right.
Fans of another FM podcast. This is what a female looks like.
So Izzy, hand check.
Okay, let me pass you to
all
Chip.
10.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Thank you. There he is.
Phone ran out of juice, and the wife, and she's taking time out of her busy schedule. She's writing the Jack Russell book right now on Great White, the whole story. It's going to be a movie, guys.
Nice.
Wow, that's fantastic.
That is a killer robe, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. You kidding me? I got this from a good friend of mine. Won't mention his name right now because he's quite cantankerous, but I like his threads.
I love the way that your wife apologized for her couch potato look, and she's basically wearing the exact same thing as I am, and I knew.
Okay, I'm going to translate that because Paul is freezing. I love the fact that she's apologizing for her couch potato look, but she's handing the phone over to somebody who has the exact same look that she has right now. Is that what you were saying?
I wish that was
what I was saying before we froze.
The idea is she always looks great all day. Of course, I'm prejudiced, but she wears her boots well, and I appreciate that. I'll never look as good as her.
That's awesome. So do you have Chip? Do you have some the cat? Do you have summer tour plans yet? Spring plans? Do you know what's next for you guys on the road?
Yeah, they're working on a few little tours. One of them is going out with Rose Tattoo from Australia. Anger Anderson and the boys are supposed to come over to the United States in February. And I'll be playing with Steve Ramona on that tour, it looks like. And there'll be other members of Enuff Z'Nuff playing on that tour, backing them up as well. But I think there might be a tour that is in the books that they're working on right now through artists worldwide. And that could be Missing Persons, Enuff Z'Nuff. And I think there's what's that? I Want Candy. What are they called?
Bow Wow Wow.
Bow Wow Wow and One in Rome, 4-band bill that they're working on for the summertime. There's a lot of things up in the air. I talked to Brian from Tesla, and they want to take us out on some shows as well. I don't know what's going to happen. It's wide open right now to interpretation, guys. It's going to be like the Wild Wild West out there. You're going to see every single band that's toured this year going out there next year as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to be happening out there. The landscape is going to be incredible. Mm-hmm. I see going out and supporting this new Enuff Z'Nuff album, Hardrock Nite. But when is it and where's it going to be? I just don't have all the dates right now. But if you go to enuffznuff.com, anybody out there, ENUFF, you get all the dates on what we're doing. It's pretty simple. It's not like the old days where you needed Metal Edge to report all your shows.
Right.
Yeah, on the internet right now, and it's pretty much social media driven, and that's good.
And just for just for sake of saying this, because I don't know if it was you or if it was Kate that commented, whoever's running the Enuff's Enough account, the apostrophe was not in the font. I did put it in there, but it did the apostrophe did not show up. So
Yeah,
that
that's
is what-
okay. I wouldn't worry about that, gentlemen. That's a short little thing.
Yeah, that's what she said.
No, never to me. Never to me.
Hey Chip, how much do you think being one of the first tours out of the gate helped you and Faster with the crowds?
Oh, we were the human guinea pigs. They said we're going to go out and we're going to do a run. It's going to be a 3 or 4 weeks. I didn't know it was going to be almost 10 weeks of touring. Had no idea. We both got tour buses. They got the old Nirvana tour bus, and we had the old it was actually the old Journey tour bus, and we just followed. We followed around each other, and the whole time, man, it was great to be able to just have both buses together, stopping at all the truck stops around the country, the Flying J's, the TAs,
yeah,
hanging out together. And I would do my little reverse shoplifting where I'd walk in with an Enough's Enough CD and put it in there, Aerosmith and Foo Fighters. So when those truck stops, you'd see all of our records there. Jamie was great. Jamie was wonderful because he's been straight and focused for years. You remember the first tour they did, Faster Pussycat and Motley Crue. They went over to Canada and they came to the United States. That was a big tour for them that helped break the band. MTV was playing them as well.
Yep.
And those guys went through about $6 million in cocaine, and they still are fighting that debt right now, paying it off every single day, playing these shows. Tammy's straight as an arrow right now. He hasn't not a sip of alcohol, not smoking, not doing anything bad, not promiscuous, playing the shows, and then walking back on the tour bus and hanging out until the next city comes up. And he's real professional, consummate professional. A lot of fun to hang out with on the tours. Band sounded great every single night. No tapes, no sequencers, no guys backstage. They just came out there and they were just kicking ass. They were really on fire. And I thought Enuff Stuff was a good support band for them. We'd come out there. We opened a Magical Mystery Tour. We had Jet in the set. And of course, doing all the singles, Worlds of Butterfly, Michelle, New Thing, Heaven or Hell. We did a lot of stuff off the Strength album. And then, of course, a lot of stuff off of our latest release at that time, which was Diamond Boy. We'd have Metal Heart in the set.
Yeah, that's great too.
And it was a real nice potpourri of a mixture of material together. And boy, to see my old girlfriends out in the crowd was incredible. They've all aged pretty well.
Oh, Chip, just for future reference, you're also doing it wrong with the reverse shoplifting. You need cassettes because a lot of those trucks still have cassette players.
Yeah, but they still have CD players as well. I think the preference right now, even though cassettes are coming back, I think the preference right now would still be CDs. It's much easier to navigate.
Chip, I just have can I hire you to be Faster Pussycat's publicist?
I'd be a great publicist for them, wouldn't I?
You'd be a great. Like, can I hire you? Like,
I know the history of that band. I know so much about those cats because we all traveled in the same circle, swam in the same lakes for years and years.
Yeah.
And that's why Tammy took this tour with Enuff Snuff, because we have a wonderful relationship. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. If you're going to go out and play with bands, look, the one of the guys at Live Nation was telling me the future of the music business is consolidation. In other words, getting 2, 3, 4 bands together.
Yes,
give the fans a bang for their buck. And Tammy was smart enough to know we were going to take other artists out with us too. We talked about a few other bands that maybe bringing them out with us, like Power Man 5000 or maybe John Corabi. Those are great artists, but we knew that too much might be, we didn't want to bite off too much that we could chew because we were playing venues that weren't, 2,000, 3,000 seaters. We knew that we had confidence that with both bands and with our illustrious histories, we'd be able to sell them out. And we were right. We got really lucky there. Plus being the first tours happening in 2021. I really believe a lot of people in the music business were watching to see what we could do and see if we could navigate those waters without any problems. And then they would use that as a template moving forward. And we were pretty smart about what we did. Everything we consolidated and shared all the equipment every single night. We had 2 beautiful tour buses. We followed everybody around in tandem. And at the end of the day, it was wash, rinse, repeat.
I don't think I'm going to speak for Tammy here. I don't think he would call his tour bus beautiful.
That was pretty clean. He had his dog on there, Carlos.
It was pretty. I mean, it was pretty clean. But I know the generator wasn't working half the time. The satellite didn't work. He was not happy about that tour bus.
We didn't have that. We didn't have those. We didn't have the luxury of having some of the stuff that he had on his bus. However, our bus worked out pretty well until we got to Denver, Colorado, and our bus broke down right in front of the venue. And then I called my friend Justin over in Houston at the Warehouse Live, and he actually his buddy John put a credit card up and got us a 15-seat passenger van. He said, Chip, I'm not going to see another tour go down, bro. I'm going to help you out, and put his card up if we were able to play the last 19 shows.
Wow.
On that tour. That was pretty cool. Man. Yeah, Justin over at Warehouse Live. What a wonderful cat right there.
Yeah,
he's a savior. I'm in debt to him the rest of my life.
I can't wait to get to Houston someday and visit him, meet him in person. I love those guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he really takes care of the bands. That last show we did was with, it was Faster Pussycat, Enuff Snuff, and Yngwie Malmsteen. And Yngwie was charming beyond belief to the band. Took pictures, hung out with us. He charges people $500 to take a picture with him. And he was just, I've always got along with Yngwie from the early days, a fabulous guitar player.
Yeah.
And that show was completely sold out right away. After we played that gig, we jumped in a 15-seat passenger van and went right through Texas. And I was traveling with about $2,000 of THC. I had pop. I had all kinds of the creams, all the CBD creams.
Right.
I had about 3 ounces of pot on me. And as we're driving through Texas, I realized, right by the border, and there was cops everywhere. And I get along with the cops great, man. Those guys, I respect them. And I'm a big fan of the blue. But I know one thing, if they pull us over, it's going to be like a pharmacy. They're going to be pulling shit out of the van. Everything you can think of, nothing bad. No cocaine, no pills, nothing like that. We don't do that kind of stuff, but plenty of marijuana. And I stopped at a gas station, and Tori and Tony Fennel helped me pull all the shit out of the back of the van. I set it up on top of the gas station pump and left it all there, beautifully set up like a display that you see in a dispensary. And then we sashayed. And I was so bummed out. We got to where we were going, which was Eagle Pass, the first show, which is right on the border.
Yeah.
And Danny from Faster Pussycat goes, "Hey man, you had a Cheech and Chong bag full of pot. Let's smoke it." And I go, "It's all gone, bro. I dropped it off at the gas station about 6 miles down. We got to navigate these waters ourselves and try to find something." And we never found anything after that, by the way. Denver, Colorado, that's the capital to find anything you are looking for. And it's a shame. Somebody out there in the world found all that stuff, and they are so happy. They won the lottery that day.
Seriously, that's like they won the lottery. Seriously. Yep. Yeah, I got to tell you, your videos, your promo videos with Danny were just, they were historically awesome. Like
all one
the
take.
two of you guys, all one
Sam Bam, the guitar player, shot all the videos for us. And honest to God, guys, every video is one take, no editing. Sam Bam is very good at what he does. He's a great cinematographer. And we had a lot of fun doing that stuff. And the fans.
I've heard Sam Bam described as a lot of things, never cinematographer.
That's what he is. He's really good. He's a great guitar player. I would call Sam Bam on stage every night, and him and Tori would duel it out on lead guitar and play a new thing and fly high. He's a fabulous player. Very underrated
really
young kid. Yeah, he's really, really a talented cat. And you know what? A nice friend and a good guy. I'm glad we bonded, all of us there. And I watched him. He's still vulnerable to Trim because he was smitten. In every single town, he would fall in love with girls. But for the most part, his focus of attention was, the rock concerts every night, making these videos. And the fans really respected it and they admired it.
Yeah.
I still hear good things about those videos to this day, you guys.
My favorite video was you and Danny sneaking into America from the Mexican side of the border, right?
That was pretty good. We had to beep some of the words out. I mentioned a few things that are illegal, but he was smart enough to use gunshots to muffle my words.
I don't know if you'll remember this or not. You may. Back when I have a drug-related Enough's Enough Texas story.
Yeah.
When you were doing the Poison tour, I got to town. I was driving across the country, moving from New York to LA. And I stopped in Dallas, and I was hanging out with the Drowning Pool guys the night before.
Yeah.
And the drummer and I may or may not have been illegally in the whirlpool at the hotel at about 3 a.m. with some, as you would say, talent. And I may or may not have slipped and pretty much broken my toe trying to get out of the hot tub area when security came. And I was all like limping and swollen the next day when I showed up. And you're like, Paul, I got you. Don't worry about it. And you came, and apparently you got something from Danny. You went to Donnie, rather. And you came back and you handed me a pill that literally, you're like, just take this, you'll be fine. And it was the size of like, it looked like a horse steroid or something. And I swear to God, it's probably still in my toiletry bag because I was afraid to take it. I was like, I don't know what that's going to do to me. I'll be in pain.
Yeah, he goes, Chip, what is this?
It was literally the size of my thumb. I was like, what?
I remember you said, Chip, what is it? And I go, it's something to eat. And those are the same pills that I had when I was on the tour with Badlands. And Ray, God rest Ray Gillen, what a fabulous singer. Every day he'd ask me for pills. And he goes, what do you got? I don't feel good. And my mom gave me tetracycline and erythromycin in case anybody caught the clap on the road. My mom, very old school. She was smart. We didn't have any penicillin because a lot of us were allergic to penicillin.
Yeah, I'm allergic.
And I remember
to
I had those pills. And I think I probably gave you something like that. It wasn't a horse tranquilizer. I wouldn't give you any drugs that I didn't think would fix you, my friend. And I heard that wasn't. And I also heard that coincidentally that was the only thing that was swollen that night with you in that pool.
Hey, for what it's worth, I woke the next morning. Mike, the drummer, Johnny Pool, and I woke up in bed together, and it was one of those like you see in the like when you see in like the sitcom or something. We just kind of both woke up at the same time and looked over, and like we both did the open one eye, saw the guy on the other side of the bed, and all of a sudden we both like sat up really straight. We're like, oh no, everything's fine, okay.
Yeah. Those aren't pillows.
You beat me to
pillows.
The good old days. Nobody can take them away from us, Paul. And anytime we go to Texas, you know as well as I do, that's a rock and roll city. Those people know how to party, and they embrace rock and metal more than anybody in the world.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, hold on 1 second because the upstairs neighbor's texting me. This is important. So you guys talk amongst yourself for 1 second.
Upstairs neighbor, female or male?
Male.
Nah.
But
Okay,
I'm blocking the driveway, so I have to have. Hold on, I'm muting.
Yeah,
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Fuck. What was I was going to ask you something? Then I lost my train of thought. So good. This is why I'm such a great interviewer, Chip.
Yeah, you are really
put on
good
the
at what
spot.
you do.
It's like it's like that scene in Wayne's World when Wayne leaves and Garth is just stuck there
Yeah, he didn't know
staring
what
at
to
the
do.
screen. He didn't know what to do. No, actually, I just lost my question, and then I was trying to think of it, and then the pro is coming back, and now the pro is going to come back to save the day.
I just sent Rick out to move our car.
There you go.
They're filming the joy of living in LA. They're filming a music video at the end of our street. So
Nice.
they've literally, the city's blocked off parking because the video production company has bought 200 feet of parking on either side of the street. So we're all packing into our driveways now. And I didn't expect to not have gone out earlier. So I'm taking up 3 spots. So that's
Tinseltown for you. That's Tinseltown for you. Get those tax dollars.
City. Get those tax dollars. Exactly. So anyway, what were you guys talking about before I so rudely interrupted?
I was trying to think of the question that I had, and then I just stared at the screen at like Garth and Wayne's World after Wayne just like bailed and
you just said, we're not worthy. We're not worthy.
No. There was some awkward dead silence, and it was beautiful.
I should have just not muted myself, and you could have heard the whole conversation I had with the upstairs neighbor. Yeah. But what we started talking about, and you were talking about the Hardrock Nite album before. I wanted to get a little bit more into that. I know you mentioned you were very strategic about the songs you picked because you wanted a specific era, right?
Yeah.
You wanted a specific era of the Beatles. Was there anything that you worked on that didn't make the record? Was there anything that you wanted to put on but you just didn't have the room for?
Yeah, there's another. I think there's 6 tracks that we didn't put on the record, and then we thought after this record came out, as we were putting it out, we started feeling a little bit of traction. People are talking about the Beatles a lot because of the Get Back documentary was coming out, and our label Frontiers was set me up with press with our agent, and we just started doing some interviews, and it was like there's some good wheels that were happening with the record, and we decided, well, maybe we'll just hold those songs back, perhaps, and then maybe they'll be around too. We don't know. I mean, it's too early to tell. We had no idea when the record was coming out that we're going to sell out right away. Frontiers has done a wonderful job setting it up. We did some videos, and it wasn't anything elaborate. The songs are, the sum is bigger than the parts. These are great songs here, no matter what band was recording them. To get the permission to do the songs was a win-win for us in the first place, because to get the licensing on those tunes, you really got to go through a lot of bureaucratic stuff. But Paul and Ringo obviously signed off on it, where we were able to put the record out there. Let's see where it goes. We're going to start doing some shows in the future, and we're not going to call it Enuff Snuff. We're just going to call it the Beatles Rock Show, and we'll go out and we'll play that whole record in its entirety. Maybe we'll do some stuff in Vegas, some residency gigs. Maybe we'll go over to Missouri where they do that kind of stuff. Maybe we'll just do Weekend Warriors where we go out and play nothing but the Beatles Rock Show. Mm-hmm. And I think people would be pleasantly surprised to see that. I see the tribute bands out there like Almost Queen or Thunderstruck. Those guys are making a Brinks truck full of money.
Oh, yeah.
Having a great time playing those songs. But how many bands, real bands like us, with guys on it, with a record deal that have had 30 years of experience, are going out and playing all Beatles songs? I don't know too many of them out there. Right. I don't think we're the only. We may perhaps be the only one doing it.
I was gonna say like you guys doing an album of Beatles material, what took so long, but it's like in a lot of ways the entire Enuff Snuff's entire career has been a tribute to the Beatles. I mean, you guys just, I mean, it's like you said, you wear that on your sleeve.
Yeah, listen, the Beatles stuff for the longest time, a huge influence, Paul, but it'd be a shortcut to thinking to think the Beatles are the only bands that we were in,
all right,
that we hail beyond belief. We grew up listening to Queen and Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and the Sex Pistols and Squeeze and Mott the Hoople and Cheap Trick, Aerosmith. The list goes on and on of the great bands that are out there that have tripped our trigger.
Yeah.
But the Beatles seem to be the first to start it all for everybody. And it only made sense. Plus, they sold over 500 million records. That certainly didn't hurt whatsoever. And they have an illustrious history. We're not trying to compare ourselves to the Beatles. That'd be a shortcut to thinking. We're a rock band at the end of the day, though. And we've always were our influence as well, I believe. And we just as much could have done a Cheap Trick record too as well, or Queen. We chose the Beatles because that was one of our biggest influences.
And so if you go out and you do these Beatles shows, not as Enuff's Enough, do the glasses come off? Because the first time I saw Chip without glasses, it was like seeing Kiss without makeup for the first time.
Or Bret Michaels without his bandana.
Yeah, I think the glasses will stay on, but who cares who drives that bus? Let's get to the picnic. If an agent calls and goes, listen, Chip, I want you on stage, no shirt, showing your chicken baskets, I'm getting out there and I'm doing it. But, it's just an accessory at the end of the day, guys.
Baskets. Did you really just say showing your chicken? If this was a print interview, the cover would say Chip's Enuff shows his chicken baskets. That would be it. My God, I love it. I'm using that somewhere.
What are you drinking right now, Paul?
You don't want to know. It's very not rock. I'm drinking tea.
There's nothing wrong with tea's rock. What are you talking about? All the rock bands drink tea. All the rock bands I know drink tea.
Yeah, it's tea.
Yeah, sometimes it's dipped in LSD, sometimes a little bit of Sammy Hagar tequila, maybe some dash vodka. There's always something in the tea with it, but you're just drinking straight tea. That's good.
I've been on a brown booze kick lately, but I haven't hit it yet tonight. Rika and I are running out to dinner.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, hey, there you go. Yeah, so I want to be able to drive.
It's nice to take a little break and let your pancreas, your liver, your kidneys take a little bit of a break.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with that.
I try to give my liver a break for a couple hours a day.
Yeah, I've been good on the whole tour. Even the Faster Pussycat guys, nobody was really drinking except their former guitar player. who did everything you could think of on that tour. He was like a modern day Cheech and Chong meets Be Real from Cypress Hill meets the guy who sells, what's his name? The guy who invented acid, Timothy Leary.
Timothy Leary.
That cat, and I really admired his strut on that tour. He was absolutely fabulous. And then, of course, at the end of the tour, he said goodbye and rode off into the sunset. But anytime bands, I can see them go on tour and they can burn the candle at both ends and be ready the next day. You got to give them a pat on the back on. That's a tough job.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you still? So I know you had talked about since you took over the lead vocals that you kind of cut back on the weed a little bit, on tour at least, to protect your voice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Are you still taking? You still taking that little break, or are you still?
I think it's important for the people that have been waiting their whole lives. A lot of them fell in love or gotten high for the first time hearing Enuff Snuff music. They had a great experience seeing us on MTV, watching us on Howard Stern, all the big shows that we've done, David Letterman. It's only fitting that if they're going to come out and pay to see Enuff Snuff play it, they hear the band and see the band in the right light. So yeah, there's a little discipline in this business. It's only fitting that I show up there every single day ready to sing and play these songs the way they should be played and heard. That's it. That's my responsibility. And a little discipline, Steven Tyler said, a little discipline never hurt anybody.
Very true. Very true. And Steven would know.
Yeah, so you got to show up every night. You can't let yourself get out of shape. You got to sing, you got to play well, and you got to stay at least semi-chiseled, because that's what the people remember in those old days when they see those videos or hear your records. They remember that guy. Nobody wants to see Chips Enough like Meatloaf. And I hail Meatloaf. By the way, I hail Meatloaf, the singer and the food. Big Meatloaf fan.
And the food. Yeah.
So
I
you go ahead.
I was going to say you talked about. I give Frontiers a lot of credit because a lot of labels wouldn't want to put out an album of cover songs. What you sound like they're doing good. I've heard a lot of good things about them lately. Have you had a good experience with them?
Yeah, Mario Sarfino, the whole team. They have a Nick Teeter. These are all veterans that have been around a long time. They got Journey on the label and White Snake. I know Sebastian was on there for a little while. They've got quite a few big bands that are on that underneath their umbrella. It's a good label right there. We're in a unique position because all our catalog stuff that Enuff Snuff has is under the Cleopatra catalog of Brian Pereira. He's got all those early Enuff Snuff albums, and then all the newer stuff from 2012 to now, with me fronting the band, is underneath the Frontiers monologue. So I think we're in pretty good shape right now. They really love hard rock and heavy metal. These guys aren't just music industry stuff. They're fans of the bands. They love the music. Mm-hmm. They're big heavy metal, hard rock aficionados. So it's nice to be on a label that is actually believes in the kind of music that you play.
Right.
Never had no idea that it was going to be a relationship that would take this long. Usually the average life expectancy with any label is a couple of records in a few years. We got a good relationship with them right now. They love the way the band comes out every single year, putting records out. By the way, to let you know, this record that's out now called Hardrock Nite, all Beatles songs will be followed in the next couple of months by my solo record, which is called Perfectly Imperfect. And that's got Dax Nielsen from Cheap Trick, Joel Holstra from White Snake, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses, a potpourri of great players on that record that's going to follow it up. So Frontiers obviously is happy with what we've been putting out, and they're happy with sales. The fans have spoken. They love the band the way we are. We're going to move forward, and we'll have a brand new Enuff Snuff album out sometime in the middle of next year on Frontiers as well. So you can't call us lazy, guys. At the end of the day, we work hard, and we're in the studio, and we really want to put as much music out as possible, not only for the fans, but for ourselves.
Oh, absolutely. And by the way, happy birthday, Joel Hoekstra. It is Joel's birthday today, actually. He's out on the road with Trans-Siberian right now.
Yeah, what a wonderful cat.
I have a question. I have a question for you.
I grew up with Joel Hoekstra. When he was 15 years old, I go to the clubs and see him playing. It's an old friend of mine, a real brother, and yeah. I'm grateful. I'm happy for his friendship, and I'm happy that he's doing really well with Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And I'm looking forward to the Whitesnake tour next year in 2022, because after that, Coverdale's calling it quits. He's going to go home. He's going to drink Chardonnay eat his little truffles, and drink his cat daiquiri because every trim he's around is 30 or under. That guy's got a wonderful sense of balance. I love his taste in women, okay? Still got pipes to this day, too. It's like, he's a great front man.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I have a vinyl question for you, because in the Metal Edge store, we are selling the self-titled Enough's Enough record on purple vinyl. Who put that out? Because I don't think that's
by a guy named Derek Oliver over at Rock Candy over in England. Old friend of mine, I haven't talked to him in years. Unfortunately, he doesn't pick up the phone or answer his emails, but he knows when he can make money off something not to deal with the artist. He's very good at that. Old friend of mine, I'm glad he put the record out there. It's nice to have the music there. I'm not cantankerous when it comes to getting our music heard by the masses out there. And I hope that Derek's doing well. I'd like to see him sometime. Maybe come out to a show and shake my hand and say thank you for the free music I gave him.
So what happened with that? Did he just do a licensing deal?
He got a licensing deal. Yeah, he never even talked to us about it. He got a licensing deal. And then his label called me and said, hey, will you do some interviews for Kerrang and some of the bigger magazines that are over Classic Rock? And I said, yeah. And I did all that stuff for them, no problem, because I want to move units. I want to see everybody do good. But it'd be nice to see the old guys who are still selling our product come out and endorse us and say hi and share pleasantries. That would be nice to see, because I missed that. Because the music business in the old days, we all looked out for each other. Now it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, that was because I was curious, because it didn't say a record label, and I've got it. It's actually in my shopping cart on the Metal Edge site in the store. And I wanted to ask you about that because it didn't say the label, but it's also, I could tell it's an import on based on the price. So it's clear. So that's exactly what it is. So he licensed it from the label and it's imported from over-seas. Okay.
Yeah, it was. He licensed it through Warner Brothers. And
that's the only place you're getting that on vinyl, though, at this point, right? I mean, it's not.
I'm grateful for that. I certainly like to own those records again. We should have them. We should own those because it's been over 25 years. But there's a lot of bureaucracy and paperwork that's got to be done to get that happening. But maybe in the future you'll see that we'll put everything underneath one umbrella. So all the old stuff will be on Brian Pereira's label, Cleopatra, which is a fine label. And then all the new Enough stuff will be on Frontiers.
There you go.
It would be great. It would be great to see you get your Warner Brothers stuff back.
I'm lucky at my age to have two major record companies behind us. It's unheard of nowadays. I never would have guessed this in my life, that we'd have that opportunity to get our music out with two different entities. But hey, we got a good, long, illustrious history. I'm pretty proud of what we've done so far. But there's still gas in the tank, gentlemen. Don't hold your breath.
I love it. Well,
that's fantastic.
I think that is the perfect way to end it. That is the absolute perfect way to end it. Chip, hold on.
Unless we want to try to kill two cell phones.
No, Izzy, Paul, good here. It's nice seeing your guys' pipes. Congratulations on Metal Edge. Fabulous magazine. Chip. I'm glad you're launching it again. It's going to be fantastic. A lot of bands are going to be coming out and wanting to talk to you, bro. You've always had a good sense of balance, and you have a great reputation, Paul. And I'm grateful that you're still out there. And I hear you're managing a few bands out there right now. That's really great. Good luck, and hold on to your wallet. And Izzy, Lizzie, good luck with everything over at your podcast.
You must know who I'm managing if you told me to hold on to my wallet.
Absolutely. Those cats will smother you like a bum on a bologna sandwich, okay?
I fucking love it. Chips it up. He's the best.
Hold on. Chip, you're awesome.
Hold on.
Love you as always.
Thanks, Paul. We'll say goodbye off the air. Paul Gargano, Metal Edge Magazine, at Metal Edge Mag on the Twitter, at Metal Edge Magazine on Instagram, and of course you can find him at Paul Gargano. Find Metal Edge Magazine on the Facebook as well. Also find the show page, Another Effort Podcast. Metal Edge Magazine's Another Effort Podcast, and you can find me at Real Izzy Presley all the way across the board, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And if you are on the Monsters of Rock cruise and you want to play in the Cruise Jam, next week I will have the set lists for you, so pay attention to my pages for that. On behalf of Chips Enuff, on behalf of Paul Gargano from Metal Edge Magazine, my name is Izzy Presley, and my chicken baskets look fucking great.
Your chicken baskets. Nice.
Hey, happy holidays, guys.